So this video is about being queer and inked, and it's about what it means to me to have tattoos. So I think I might have actually mentioned this somewhere, but I didn't always want tattoos. Actually, I don't think it's that I actively didn't want them, but when I was little, I actually used to get, those little removable tattoos that you get when you're small. I was very young. I used to get them, and I used to be very paranoid and panicky about a lot of things, and I used to overanalyze a lot of things. I've always been an overanalyzer, and so I used to get the little removable ones on there. But after a day or two, I would start to panic, and then that's when I would insist that they be removed, and I'd just be worried so much about it that my mother would then have to go and get, I think it was, I can't remember what it was, but she would have to get some stuff to put on it and then to remove it. It was funny because I think everybody knew, certainly my mother probably knew that I was going to get to the point where I was going to be like, no, I can't have it on me anymore. It has to go now, now, I can't wait. But at the same time, every time I was still really sure that I really wanted to do it. And I was like, no, I want to do it. And I did want to do it. But then I also later really felt that I needed to have it removed. I always thought of tattoos as being an alternative thing, a really alt thing. And I know that there are people in all sorts of different, with all sorts of different styles who are really into tattoos. But I always thought of it as a punk goth alt thing. But, it wasn't something, tattoos weren't something that I thought that much about when I was younger. The main reason was just that I was so focused on clothes. I was focused on one thing. And because when I was younger, I didn't have a lot of money. All of my money came from things like babysitting. And, I didn't have much of it. There was a time when I did have pocket money. But, I didn't get a lot of money. And so tattoos would just have been something that would have been, in terms of my budget, they just would have been totally out of the question. And so my whole focus was on clothes. How can I build my style? How can I create my style? How can I express it? How can I use the money that I have, the little money that I have to, really enhance my style? And I couldn't afford a lot, but, every now and then I could save up and I could afford to get some pieces. So, I used to save up. I think I've mentioned this before, that I used to save up to go to the one goth kind of punk goth kind of shop that I knew, and I used to go there and I used to buy the things that I could afford. So I spent all of this time building my wardrobe, and I didn't really think too much about whether or not I wanted to be tattooed until I was about 21. And it was at that point that I actually realised that not only did I want tattoos, but that I actually wanted a lot of tattoos. That I wanted to be really tattooed. One of the things with me is that I used to feel quite bare. I used to feel once you took away all of the clothes and the style and all of that, I just felt once you removed that, the expression wasn't there, that you couldn't see it. And, things like piercings and tattoos just meant that the expression, the creative expression and the expression of my personality was still there, once everything else was taken away. When it came to getting my first tattoo, I knew that I didn't want something subtle. Subtle is the furthest thing away from who I am. I'm many things, subtle is definitely not one of them. So I knew that I didn't want something small. I knew that my first tattoo had to be big. I knew that it had to be a decent size. I wanted it to be something significant. I at least wanted it to be significant in size and colour. I wanted it to be something that you could see, something that would really stand out. So this is the first tattoo that I got, and it's basically a red lily on a black filigree background. Now, the flower didn't actually mean that much to me. Generally speaking, I'm not even that crazy about flowers. I'm not crazy about people buying me flowers. I do think they look very beautiful as tattoos. But what I really liked about it, the reason I chose it was because, I loved the colours. I loved the fact that it was red and black. And it just felt like a perfect balance between the femininity of the flower and the masculinity of sort of the filigree background, the swirls, and the black that was behind it. And that was one of the things that was really meaningful for me, was the balancing between femininity and the masculinity. I remember I'd only had it a couple of days, and I was in a shop. I think at the time it was H&M or something like that. And I was waiting outside this to go into this changing room, and there was this guy there who was waiting for his girlfriend. And I think he had a tattoo or something like that, and I think I commented on it. And I think I said to him, "Oh, I just got my first tattoo, and I'm really excited about it." And he was like, "Oh, did you?" I was like, "Yeah." And so I showed, and he was like, "Oh, let's see it." So I showed him my first tattoo, and I remember him literally just goggling at me. He was like, that was your first tattoo? And I was like, yeah, that was my first tattoo. And I remember him being really shocked because my first tattoo was so big. I think he thought that the first tattoo that I had was going to be something really cute. And I just pulled out this, I don't know if you'd call it half a sleeve. No, you probably wouldn't. No, it's not big enough for half a sleeve, but it's certainly quite big, definitely for your first one. Now, this one is my second tattoo. I don't know how well you can see it, so I'm going to sort of move my arm around. So this is actually this is Emma from Blue is the Warmest Colour, which I think was originally called Blue Angel. Except I think, yeah, it was originally in French. So you can kind of see her hair there is curling. The front of her hair is there curling forward, and you can see her face there. I really adore this one. And this particular tattoo has a hell of a lot of meaning for me. After I got this particular tattoo, I'd actually come out really recently. So I'd come out as gay really recently at that point. And, the film Blue is the Warmest Colour was something that had really sort of opened my eyes. It had really opened my eyes and helped me to come to terms with, and also just realise about my own sexuality. And so that's why this tattoo in particular was really, really, really significant for me. I felt like as a character, I could relate to the characters so much. I mean, she was different. She was androgynous. I loved the blue hair. I adored the blue hair, and I wanted blue hair for a while. I did try it, and it didn't really work quite so well on me because my hair is really dark. So it was really hard to get the blue to stick. But yeah, no, I mean, she was androgynous. I really related to her style, the way that she dressed, the way that it was quite, the way that it was quite tomboy without being completely masculine. My third tattoo is a phoenix. I don't know what I think it represented several things for me. So it definitely represented sort of rebirth and renewal, but I mean, for which it, does typically, but I feel like that's so much more relevant for me now, especially considering that everything that I've experienced over the last 2 years, when there were times where I struggled and where I thought that, things were going to happen, and I thought that I was going to get things off the ground, and then it didn't. And then I just had to, and then sometimes I just sunk into a place where I just felt like, into a really negative place, and I just had to pull myself out of that. So, the concept of rebirth is really especially relevant for me now. But it was also relevant for me at the time because, it reminded me of Harry Potter and, everything like that. I was really, especially when I was younger, I was really interested in fantasy. I was fascinated by it. I also think it's a beautiful creature, and I thought that it would make a beautiful tattoo. But yeah, it did remind me of Harry Potter, and at the time I was definitely a really hardcore fan. When I was a child, when I was young, I was really, really into it, and it was something that, in a lot of ways, I think it shaped a lot of my childhood. So I definitely want way more tattoos. I'm definitely not done, not even close. I haven't gotten as many as I would like just yet, because I've had to focus on other things. Financially, because obviously a tattoo is a big expense, and it's definitely an investment, but it's just not something that's been on the cards for me for the last while. But I know that I want a dragon tattoo. I feel like I would really at the moment, I'm feeling that I would really like a dragon tattoo probably here. So it would be on the opposite side to the phoenix. So that's something that I would really, really like. And I think I'd probably have it in maybe not black, because I feel like I want my arms to be in full colour. I don't know. But I feel like I'd like it to be maybe in purple or something like that. I also feel like I'd like something that represents spirituality in a way that's relevant for me. So, maybe tarot or something I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but I'd like something like that. One of the things that I know I would really, really like, and I don't know whether I'm going to be able to do it, but I would love to have this whole arm almost as a fantasy on. So I'd like to have, other things maybe related to, like, I'm not huge into comics, but if there are any of the graphic novels that might be relevant to me that are particularly meaningful, that I'm thinking, I have some ideas of things that I might like to do for that. So I think that's probably where I'm going to go with tattoos in the future. The big thing about tattoos for me is really creative expression, or just it's expression in general. I love knowing that, I'm really passionate about style, but I love knowing that if I want to, that I can just throw on a plain black top and that my tattoos will speak, that they'll say something about who I am and my personality, and that I can be vibrant and colourful, just going out in something really plain if that's what I want to do. Another huge thing for me about tattoos, for me, is that I feel like they balance my gender expression. So, I feel like it's a way that I can sort of express myself and go out. And I feel like I can be colourful, but I feel like I can be colourful without that being expressed in a way that's exclusively feminine. Because, I feel like for me, having tattoos, in a really prominent way, in the way that I have them, it feels like it enhances my androgyny. And it's just a way of balancing just, the various aspects of my gender and just the way that I feel about myself. Yeah, really, it's just a way of, it's just part of me, and it's just, an additional way that I can express me. So I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit the like button, and please, leave me a comment, or you can go over to my Instagram and you can leave me a comment on there. I'd love you to follow me on there. It would really help me. And also I'd love you to hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more of my videos, and I will see you really soon in my next video. Whatever that's going to be, I don't know yet, but whatever my next video is, I will see you then.